The CPI data report gets released 1 hour before the market opens tomorrow on Wednesday, May 15th, and this is everything that you need to know about it. I want to first off start by saying, if you want me to go live before the market opens, before the CPI data report goes live so we can watch it together, get this video to over 1,000 likes before I actually go to sleep. I don't want to hear any excuses. Again, if you want me to host a free live session so we can watch it together, drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will take care of the rest. But without further ado, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen and show you exactly what it is that happened today. So Robinhood shorted this just like I shared with you guys in my earlier video. I waited for confirmation, added more to it. Direction became favorable. My price target was $18. I covered at 18. I made $6,600 profit shorting Robinhood. As you guys can see, I ended up closing out my trade completely, and it ended up selling off even more. My trades are never perfect. My entries, my exits, they're never perfect. And guess what? I had a goal, I had a price target. I worked towards it. I made it happen, and I locked profits in, and I walked away. The other one that I shorted this one at one point today. I went long on it. I told you guys, I'm not here to pretend to be like, hey, I'm part of the AMC movement or the GME movement and do something behind my back. No, I told you guys straight up that I am trading the crap out of this. I do not care if it's bullish. I do not care if it's bearish. I like to day trade it. I'm not holding this position overnight. I don't care to invest in this. I'm not part of your movement. I'm here to make money. And that's exactly what I did today. As long as I focus on watching my position size and as long as direction is clear, you can make money if it's selling off, shorting, and or going long when you have confirmation. And I walked away with 17.5K on the day. Very grateful. This is not an average trade, but again, this is not an average stock. It's an extremely risky stock, and the way that I approached it was I did it in a more careful and tasteful way by watching my position size. So now, without further ado, let's talk about what's going on tomorrow. It's the CPI data report. Today was the PPI data report, which came in higher than what was expected. Just a little heads up, the PPI data report is expected or viewed as a forecast for CPI. Again, it's never 100% guaranteed because normally inflation, if it shows up on the producing side of things, it gets passed down to the consumer. So overall CPI report is, again, inflation month over month on the consumer side of things. The market's expectation for tomorrow's CPI data report is 3.4%. Our current inflation rate is 3.5%. It's very, very simple. If inflation comes in higher than 3.4 than what is expected, the market should naturally drop. If inflation comes in lower than 3.4%, showing that inflation is actually going down, then again, market should potentially rise. And there's nothing else that should be complicated about that. I mean, today's PPI data report, normally PPI is not as important as CPI, and this is super important. The Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, even today in his speech said that he hasn't been the happiest about most recent economic data and inflation reports because inflation is sticky and it's not going away. You could see that we went from 9.1% and worked our way down to 3%, but we've been pretty much not showing any signs of progress since I would say late last year, December is when we hit lows of 3%, and we've been trading or not trading sideways, but we've been flatlining here. So we have not been making signs of progress. So therefore the Federal Reserve, the reason this is important is the Federal Reserve cannot justify cutting interest rates if inflation is not going down. Remember, their target is 2%. Right now, inflation currently sits at 3.5%. So again, if it comes in higher than what is expected, you cannot be surprised that the markets sell off. I'm not here to predict the future. I'm not here to encourage you to do so. We're here to prepare. And again, one of the best ways to do so is to stay cash, wait for the market to react after the report comes out. And if direction is clear, then you choose to take a trade based on that, if and only if it actually meets your criteria. But in tomorrow's CPI data report, if you guys get this video to over 1,000 likes, and if we end up actually going live, I'm going to be breaking this all down for you. It might seem very overwhelming to read. It's super, super simple. So tomorrow they're going to be adding the new month of April, and they're going to be removing the old month of April, kind of like how they did last month. So this is the previous CPI data report that was released in April. That was for March. And the way that this works is tomorrow it's going to be released in May, but it's going to be the CPI data report for April 2024. They're going to add the new month of April, and then they're going to remove the old one. And based off of what they add versus what they remove, will determine if inflation goes up or down. And based off of most recent economic data, seeing an increase of 0.4%, if inflation is anything like it was in the past before, then guess what? By taking away only 0.1% and then adding anything higher than 0.1%, we can expect that inflation is actually possibly going to go up if it actually ends up exceeding that 0.1% increase. There's an exact formula on how the CPI data report is actually calculated, so please make sure you take that into consideration. The other focus is core CPI. And that is everything including or everything less food and energy, and that was 3.8%. And again, these items are right on over here. So we have all items. We have overall CPI coming in at 3.5%, and then core CPI coming in at 3.8%. And then again, I'm going to be breaking down these line items in tomorrow's report so we can see what was the biggest gain and what was the biggest loss in our most recent inflation report. But that is pretty much it. Again, if you end up not wanting to tune on into my free live session, I want to make sure that you're aware of where you can access this yourself, and that is bls.gov/CPI. And again, it's going to be 1 hour before the market opens. You will have access to being able to see the market react to that CPI data report. So without further ado, again, I hope that earned your thumbs up. If you want me to go live, make sure you get this video to over 1,000 likes. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications. Again, also, if you want to watch me trade live every single day right at market open, right now we are running a discount. It's the second link in the description down below. And yes, it is 50% off right now. So if you guys haven't taken advantage of that discount, then go ahead and do so. If you have any questions, comment down below. And if not, feel free to message me via Instagram. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.